Hey there, hi there, Libras, and welcome to your Dream Tarot reading for the month of August. So, I'm going to be doing a Tarot of Dreams guidebook reading, and basically, this is called The Story, okay? So, we have the story here, and the story, okay, position one. The story. This card provides an overview of the chapter of the story that you are presently living. Okay, so at the center here we have the sun energy. Okay, some fiery energy. Oh, that is so true. Okay, we got some fire sun energy here. So take a look here at the sun card. The sun. We have awareness, consciousness, reason and order, confidence, optimism, intelligence. After the disruption of the tower, the enslavement to the devil, and the uneasiness of the moon, the fool finally emerges into the sun. He has undergone the dismantlement of his personality and has constructed a new one that is more sophisticated, more reflective of his inner self, and more effective. The inner self, which in the past appeared to him as a dimly perceived moon, now glows with the incandescent power of the sun. On the card, we see a bright, powerful figure suggestive of Apollo, the Greek god associated with light, healing, order, and reason. This card signifies the ultimate flowering of consciousness, in sharp contrast to the moon, which illuminates the depths of the subconscious. But the awareness and intellectualism shown in the sun card is quite different than the mental constructs that have been represented in previous cards by machinery and architecture. The order and reason shown in the sun are built upon a hard-won, unshakable connection between the fool's conscious mind and his inner self, which he forged by virtue of his experience in the previous cards. This new, more structurally sound awareness gives the fool a deep-rooted confidence and optimism, which contrasts strikingly with the paper-thin arrogance he displayed in the Chariot. In that card, the fool acts as if he could juggle planets. In the sun, he really can. The image of the sun, God juggling planets, suggests that although at one level of the universe is governed by physical laws, on a deeper level, the universe's motivating forces are actually our own attitudes and actions. Below the sun god, we see a sundial. The means to tell time can be taken in a wider sense to suggest the ability to orient oneself in time and space, and has often been used as a symbol of capability and intelligence. The Hebrew letter resh means front of the head or fet, face. Things that face the back of the head are hidden and out of sight. Things that face the front of the head, i.e. the face, are in full view and we can be fully aware of them. While the moon is historic, available only to the initiated, the sun is knowledge and awareness, available to all. The sun is the heavenly body of self-esteem and self-integration. So, yeah. Okay, you're not playing Libra. You're not. You know, there might be some other energies that try, to play a game, right? But you're like, yeah, you know about that life, right? So yeah. All right, let's take a look here at position two. What you think. This card describes your conscious mind or your ego, what it thinks about the story, and what it thinks the story is in the final analysis. Okay? And we have here the King of Swords. Okay, so that's the King of Swords alongside the Sun card here. So we're going to look at that. So the King of Swords, this guy's personality, alright, he's got this really cool star crown on his head here. So Basically, the King of Swords is himself a symbol of the fully developed mind. Unlike the page, knight, and queen, his head needs no hair, wings, or feathers, and is instead completely bald so as to allow for maximum mental input and output, illustrated by the complex metallic swirls and shapes that surround him. Notice how the swirls radiate into space and together with the four sword blades form a sort of temple to the mind. Such a solid and elaborate mental structure is quite an achievement, but it can have its drawbacks too. The king must be vigilant, lest his mental structure calcify into narrow-mindedness. He must strive to maintain the page's childlike curiosity and mental flexibility. The king could be a scientist, someone who changes the world by studying it, analyzing it, and reaching new conclusions about it. All right, so in contrast to this, though, the page whose swords lacked tips, the tips of the two of the king blades are visible, indicating that he has the capability to follow lines of thought to their logical conclusions. The two remaining blades still lack tips to show that there is always something more to learn. A plan or strategy has reached a peak stage of effectiveness and is ready to be put in practice. Kings are controlling. The King of Swords suggests that you establish and authoritatively state your beliefs and attitudes rather than simply going with the flow or letting others do your thinking for you. Two-thirds Gemini, one-third Taurus. The King of Swords studies and understands the relationship between the Gemini and the thorough and painstaking way Taurus. Yeah, you are not going to let other people control you, Libra. Like, that is not your MO. That's not your motivation. Is people controlling you is not your motivation to do or not to do. That is the question. So I feel like, your story basically is unfolding here where you're finally realizing like there's been a major breakthrough. You're no longer letting other people control your mind. Okay? That's the funny thing about the king is he's like, I'm not going to let other people control my mind. And, you can draw your own conclusions from that, Libra. But I think with the sun energy happening here is your main focus here is on your self-discovery, on your self-journey, on your self-realizations here of seeing patterns, seeing cycles, seeing behavioral patterns specifically, seeing cycles of behavior that display controlling mechanisms, controlling tactics and a strategy. And you're being like, they're trying to use you as a pawn in their game. And you're not in their game. You're not a pawn in their game. Okay? It's so funny, Libra, when people think that, isn't it? I think it's so hilarious. Okay, we have position 4, what you feel. This card explores an emotion. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. I gotta get to card number 3. Okay, what you get. This describes the physical circumstances in which you will find yourself if your story continues on its present path. Okay, and we have here the Palace of Swords. Okay, on its present path here we've got the Palace of Swords. All right, so that looks good. I mean, nobody's messing with that palace. I feel like this is your palace. This is your home. This is your space. This is your sacred temple, your temple of your mind. Like, you're not going to just let anybody enter your temple. Like, you have to set rules. You have to set boundaries. And I think that, that can either, people can either get with it or, they can just go off and bother somebody else with their problems. I know what to tell you, Libra. So what you get, all right. So let's see the Palace of Swords, all right. We got this really awesome card with these, like, horses. Remind me of, like, chess pieces. Okay, this card shows an environment that promotes clear thinking. In the cold, crisp air, the structures rise above the obscuring mists that usually cloud our thinking and are built as observation decks for the purpose of efficient perception rather than luxurious living. The many wings suggest the mind's ability to overcome emotional biases and attain a global perspective. Yes, exactly. So luxury is important, but we must remember that comfort doesn't always mean playing somebody else's game, playing by somebody else's rules, right? And that can be a little discomforting to those who seek out using their resources to control you, okay? So let's move on to card 4, position 4, what you feel. This card explores the emotional roots and foundations of your present circumstance. This is where you'll find hidden emotional motivations. And we have the Ace of Coins. Okay. Wow, there's a stag here. This man is holding up his giant golden, sphere, like a green, like emerald or portal or something in there. Okay, a new opportunity or interest in material matters such as money, health, exercise, food, constructing something physical, the resources to make progress in these areas. An immensely strong bearded man coalesces out of the mist in forest settings. Yeah, that's exactly what I was feeling here. Is this is something to do with money and somebody controlling your resources, something physical here as a means of control. An immensely strong bearded man coalesces out of the mist in a forest setting. On his breastplate is the elemental glyph for earth. He holds up a huge coin. In the foreground stands a stag. The image suggests Vulcan. Oh, Vulcan's from Star Trek. The Roman god of the forge who created physical objects out of raw materials mined from the earth. Coins in general stand for material values, and the Ace of Coins represents a new start in material matters. Perhaps you have developed a new interest in something having to do with money or health. Aces often indicate unexpected opportunities you may find or be gifted with, the raw materials you need to make progress in these areas. Yeah. I feel you know how Vulcans, I don't know if you've ever seen Star Trek, but Vulcans are supposed to be very logical beings. And there's something connecting this story that's somebody isn't acting logical, okay? And it's okay to be logical sometimes. Sometimes you need to use practicality and logic and reasoning to come up with proper solutions. That's how you see the cycles. That's how you see the behavioral patterns. When you're looking at something from a logical standpoint versus an emotional perspective, because people will try to bait you with an emotional reaction. It's called manipulation. And I just find that's kind of the theme here that's unfolding, Libra. So if somebody is trying to be manipulative and emotionally abusive toward you, that is just so wrong. It's not okay. Now, it's interesting that this falls into the feeling category because your feelings are tied to your emotions, but what's happening here is you're finding hidden emotional motivations through logic and reasoning. Now, position 5, what you deserve, this card shows what you expect on an emotional level, and we have here the wheel. Wow, we have the wheel. Interesting. Okay, this looks like a compass. And the number 4 is on here. It looks like the number 4. Lucky number 4. Okay, so what you deserve. This card shows what you expect on an emotional level. Alright, let's take a look here at the wheel. Change mechanistic view of life, abdicating responsibility by railing against the fates. Ooh, yeah, somebody definitely did this. Somebody definitely abdicated responsibility by railing against the fates. Fate had a plan for you, Libra, and somebody is trying to go against it. Trying to go against you and your destiny and your purpose, trying to fight spiritual warfare, psychological warfare. They're trying to keep you from your destiny, from your purpose, from your faith. I feel from your beliefs in yourself. This was all fated by the wheel that you would have to go up against this opponent. I feel but you're not playing games, right? You're not you're not about that life, right? You send out your soldiers. Right, Libra, come on now. You sit back on your throne and you send out your soldiers, your minions, right? To like, sort the situation. Um, so we have here the wheel. The wheel contains a very simple metaphor, the wheel of fate, the feeling that our destinies are determined by the turnings and workings of some cosmic machine. Yeah, see, that's the thing. If somebody tries to mess with you, interestingly, counterparts of this concept occur in both science and religion. In the scientific revolution of the 17th century, the doctrine of mechanism and was widely accepted. Mechanism. According to this view, everything that occurs in the universe is determined by the laws governing the motion of matter. Theoretically, it should be possible, given an intellect vast enough to gather and analyze the necessary data, to predict every occurrence from the beginning to the end of time. Likewise, in religion, we have the doctrine of predestination, according to which God has predetermined the ultimate destiny of every soul. That is, whether it will be saved or damned, regardless of what we may have to say about the matter. Both the religious and the scientific versions of this doctrine subtract personal choice and potential from the equation. We often allow ourselves to succumb to this kind of thinking, sometimes without even realizing it. How often do we abdicate responsibility for our lives by railing against the fates or other impersonal authorities such as the government? The lesson inherent in the wheel is that this kind of thinking is only an attitude, although certainly a seductive one. Although there is much in our lives that is beyond our control, there is also much that is well within it. Much of what seems out of our control can be managed with creative thinking and determination. In a reading, the wheel card can represent feeling helpless on fate's wheel. On the other hand, it might simply represent change. If things aren't going well, the wheel can be a source of comfort, for it can signify that things will be changing for the better. On the card, we see a complex mechanism. In the terror of dreams, devices and machinery often represent the complicated structures built by our minds, and this once again suggests that the this word, uh, mechanistic view of the world is more a construct of our own minds than an accurate picture of reality. Around the main wheel, we can see the signs of the zodiac. At present, mainstream astrology does not see the planets as controlling or strictly predicting human life, but such was not always the case. For most of astrological history, it was the thought that our activities and destinies could be read in the planet's motions without fail. In the bottom half of the image, symbols appear on white walls, suggesting a Las Vegas slot machine. Indeed, gambling is another example of people voluntarily submitting themselves to the whims of fate. The four symbols at the bottom of the wheel are ancient alchemical symbols representing the seasons, from left to right: autumn, summer, spring, and winter. The presence of the two dolphins can be considered to ameliorate the mechanistic qualities of the card. Dolphins are playful creatures, and one can hardly think of anything less mechanistic than a dolphin gliding through the waves. In dreams, dolphins often symbolize protection, serenity, and guidance to unknown worlds. If we begin to feel too much like a cog in a wheel, perhaps the antidote is to imagine ourselves allowing the two dolphins to guide us out of the machine and into a delightful ocean of adventure and potential. The Hebrew letter Kaf means palm. The wheel of fortune spins and proclaims our destiny, which some believe can be foreseen by divination, such as palm reading. Astrology, Jupiter is the planet of optimism and abundance. Things we hope the spin of the wheel will bring us. Yeah, so obviously there was a little bit of like, somebody trying to like kind of mess with that a little bit, because if you're trying to like figure things out for yourself and you're trying to make sense of the world and you're trying to make sense of things, and somebody's trying to mess with your process and mess with your peace and your happiness here, then obviously that's gonna like disrupt the balance, okay, and that's gonna cause some conflict and things like that. So, all right, let's take a look here at the following card. Position 6, what you tell. This shows how you present yourself to others and how you express yourself. Okay, and we have here the Two of Coins. All right, so let's see, Two of Coins. does the Two of Coins mean? So the Two of Coins, juggling many things at once, having too many balls in the air, awareness of the cyclical patterns of life, and using those patterns to one's advantage. A man stands on a wave juggling 2 coins. Before him, a great figured metal sphere, which also appears on the Ace of Cups, floats on the water. The man is juggling as he walks on a path toward the sphere, representing his heart's desire. In a reading, this card indicates that you are juggling many things at once. The man could be seen as effectively handling the different facets of his life, or this could mean he has too many balls in the air. Oh my god. I swear to you, a narcissist literally like quoted this like exact quote from this book that I'm reading. I'm not even kidding. Like, seriously. Okay. So, the metal sphere suggests the cyclical patterns of life and how it is often necessary to be aware of these cycles, to lightly dance among and between them. Yeah, so basically, like, the cycle patterns of life and how it is often necessary to be aware of these cycles, to lightly dance among and between them, and to use them to one's advantage rather than being ruled by them. Sometimes keeping the balls in air can seem an arduous task, yet the man on the card is miraculously accomplishing the impossible, and is even walking on water while he does it. We are capable of more than we know, and the only way to test the limits of our potential is to continually challenge ourselves. Jupiter in Capricorn, channeling the unlimited potential of Jupiter through the structure and discipline of Capricorn, so that you may accomplish more than you had thought yourself capable of. Yeah. I wish people like would take that advice more to heart, because I feel like a lot of like narcissists will try to like use like, oh, I have a lot going on at once. Like, even this quote exactly, like, too many balls in the air, like, that literally, like, somebody said that to me who literally was like trying not to be helpful and trying not to like accomplish a task, because they're like making it seem like a normal, like, basic need is like an impossible task. Like, I'm like, this is something so basic and normal and simple, like, to understand is like too much for you to comprehend. Like, what? Like, that makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's like what you're dealing with, Libra. Okay, obviously you're dealing with somebody that, you know, they're not capable of like accomplishing basic things, okay? And I feel like they're trying to like twist and contort a narrative that suits them. And it's not very logical, it's not very intellectual, it's very like emotional based. It's like they don't want you to have basic needs met. They don't want you to have basic things, because that would disrupt their control or their power over you. It's a control power dynamic. They want you to be always in like this state of vulnerableness. So you're always like dependent on them. But Libra, I mean, hello, like, you're not going to do that. Like, that's, yeah. It's like, they're out to lunch, okay? They're not thinking clearly. Now you have position 7, what you are. The parts of yourself that have been determined by the physical circumstances of your upbringing. And we have here the devil energy. Okay? And we have the Fool is in a cage. The door is open. So you can walk out. You can walk free. Okay, Libra? And I feel like you know this already. And I feel like you also see people in cages, but they don't want to free themselves. They don't want to break free. So if you've already broken free, Libra, which I feel like you're free as a bird, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to let anybody cage you. But if they try to cage you, or if you see other people in cages, they put this cage around themselves. They've let somebody else control their destiny or control their purpose without thinking twice, without thinking clearly. Okay? So that's why you have like this devil energy. Let's see. Yeah, somebody tries like wants you to feel like that you can't like have freedom, like you can't have basic needs met. Like it's so pathetic. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the devil. All right. So we have a primitive, savage inner energy, hidden desires and aggressions. Yeah, addiction, obsession, anger, the result of repressing one's vital energy, avoiding responsibility by pretending to be helpless, materialism. Yeah, throughout the sequence so far, the fool has taken advantage of a primitive energy, which, when carefully monitored, helped him to accomplish difficult tasks. He first became aware of this energy in the chariot as he struggled to control the willful forces needed to carry him forward on his journey. In strength, the fool focused more precisely on this energy and worked to develop a mutually beneficial relationship with it. In the devil, the fool must face the true enormity of this vicarious entity, which is distressingly a part of his own personality. What had been a mostly so basically like in strength, the fool focused more precisely on this energy and worked to develop a mutually beneficial relationship with it. And the devil, the fool must face the true enormity of the ferocious entity which is distressingly a part of his own personality. What had been a mostly benign, if rambunctious helper is now in the driver's seat, imprisoning our poor fool, who cowers in fear and helplessness. The fool's own hidden desires and aggressions have become its masters. Analogies to everyday life are easy to find. Have you ever felt yourself in the grip of an all encompassing rage so potent that you lost all control? Has your fondness for a person, a substance, or activity ever crossed the line and become an addiction? In each of these situations, the inner savage primal energy has gained control of your life and is running the show and all you can do. It seems it's watch the train wreck your life is about to become. On this card, the fool is shown in two different ways. The persona, the normal everyday consciousness of the fool, is inside a cage. He huddles in a fetal position, incapable of functioning or even of raising his head. Above the cage floats the fool's inner devil. Seen as a sort of horror movie version of the fool, he holds the chains to the fool's cage. The devil's main power is that he is able to convince us that we have no power. Yeah, we'll see about that. As soon as we see through the illusions, we are free. It's all a matter of perception, which can be changed. If we look carefully at the card, we notice that the cage door is open. Of course, the fool can't see the open door because he hides his face in despair. Then we notice the chains, which are loosely attracted to or attached to the cage, but which don't actually touch the fool and which wouldn't prevent him from escaping. The fool seems to have abdicated responsibility for his life and placed the reins in the hands of his inner devil. In all such situations, there is a hard road and an easy road. The hard road is to lift up one's eyes, is, yeah, take the helping hand, and extricate oneself from the loosely bound chains. The easy road is to simply continue the status quo. The devil is powerful and weak at the same time. Powerful because his illusions are so convincing, and weak because all we need to do is open our eyes. All of the tarot cards, including this one, show extreme situations in order to make their points. Even the title "devil" is a melodramatic tag for a concept that doesn't refer to the devil of the Christian religion at all, but rather to an archetype that is part of each of us, or what Carl Jung referred to as the shadow. In a reading, the devil may refer to obsessions and self-delusions. It may also simply signify that you are being tempted to reach for something not because you really want it, but because your inner devil wants it, and that taking it may set you on a road that ends in the devil's cage. In reality, the archetypes are not so sharply categorized as they appear in the major arcana. Several of the cards show different facets of the same archetypal energies. The devil, for instance, can be seen as an aspect of our inner child. The inner child is the source of our innocence, but it can also be the source of greedy desires and temper tantrums when it doesn't get its way. Thus, the devil can signify anger. Also, the greedy inner child tends to value only the material, ignoring philosophical or spiritual considerations. For this reason, this card has often been interpreted as materialism. We don't need to look at the devil as an inherently frightening thing. We need this hidden and difficult to deal with part of our personality for survival and for strength. He is, after all, a part of us, and he will serve us well if we treat him gently but keep him on a short leash. He only becomes frightening when we try to deny his reality, thus giving him more power than is good for him. The Hebrew letter Ayan means I, focusing on the materialism interpretation, usually the visual perception of material things, as what instigates a desire to own them. Astrology, Capricorn is the sign of materialism. Yeah, so basically, like there is a perception here that, you know, people are going to lie to you, Libras, okay? They're going to tell you they got a lot going on. They're too busy to care about basic needs, basic necessities, um, basic supports, practical, logical thinking. Okay. And then they're going to turn it around and try to say, like, you don't deserve practical, basic things. And that's the illusion. The illusion is that you need to feel trapped in this cage, thinking you don't deserve basic things, basic love, basic respect, basic common decency. Okay, um, but of course you do. Of course you deserve those things. So, um, somebody here is like very like materialistic, right? Where they use material items to control other people. Like they will try to take advantage of your, situation, and they will try to cause chaos and things like that for you and try to put you in a cage. But you're not gonna have it, right? You're just gonna be like, yeah, I'm good, thanks, bye. Like, right? So that's the thing about this. It's just like you have to be like your own king of swords, your own master of your own universe, and you can't just like, you know, let these people throwing tantrums that are full grown adults be stopping you from your success, okay? Um, so now we have position 8, what you need. This card shows what you feel you need to be happy on a physical level. In other words, what level of physical comfort or security you need, or what level of risk. Okay, and we have here the 3 of coins. All right, 3 of coins. Okay, so let's see that. So 3 of coins. 3 of coins. All right. All right. So, anyways, I feel like I skipped one. Let me see. No, I didn't. We didn't. What you need. This card shows what you feel you need to be happy on a physical level. In other words, what level of physical comfort or security you need, or what level of risk. So that's the 3 of coins. 3 of coins. Okay, so we got the 3 of coins here. Attaining mastery and knowledge of a particular field, the act of creation, making something refined out of rough raw materials. A glass blower works at his furnace, creating beautiful, refined forms from rough raw materials. Like the Ace of Coins, this image brings to mind the god Vulcan at his forge. This card shows a master craftsman, someone who has paid his dues and now commands respect as an expert in his field. He takes pride in his work and is eager to pass on his knowledge to a new generation. In a reading, the card indicates that you have attained mastery of a particular subject. It could also represent the act of creation, taking the raw materials and transforming them into exciting new shapes. Mars and Capricorn. You have the power Mars to harness Capricorn, transformative energies like the fire in the craftsman's kiln to give shape to refined creations. Yeah, exactly. Right? You're a master at what you do. You're a master. Okay, you've been through things, you've seen things, you've done things, like your life, and I feel like the work that you've done, you take so much pride in it, and you've accomplished a lot. And I feel like others need to like respect that, and they need to stop like saying like, you don't need certain things, like certain basic things. Okay, that's just wrong. So, you know, you're still going to keep creating, and you're still going to be a master at what you do regardless. Okay. But obviously there's like this like egocentric, egotistical like energy that just keeps trying to say, oh, you need to respect me, you need to do what I say, you need to listen to me, blah 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 blah. And you're like, no. You're like, think again. Like, that's not happening. Okay. So, like, you're a Libra for a reason. Okay. So, I feel like you're a leader for a reason. Okay. You don't mess around here. Okay. So, yeah, it's like, yeah. All right. Anyways, so we're gonna find out what the next card is. All right. Let's see. What's the next card? Yeah. So, what card do we have here? We got the 3 of coins. All right. So making something refined out of rough raw materials. Yeah. I mean, like your goal here is like survival, basic needs, basic necessities. Um, not juggling excuses, not coming up with excuses, but actually, you know, making something here. Um, and you're transforming things here into exciting new shapes, into exciting new pathways here, maybe even like exciting new portals that of possibilities here, and exploring new options here. And I feel like all of these like narcissistic traits that people have, where they're like telling you like excuse after excuse, is like that's what they're throwing at you, but you're not throwing excuses, you're building something here. Okay, let's take a look here at um, position 9, what you expect. This shows what your conscious mind or ego expects for the future. Okay, so we got here the Queen of Swords, and look at that, Libra energy, Queen of Swords. Perfect. Perfect timing. Okay, so let's take a look here at this Queen of Swords energy. So the Queen of Swords, I love her angel wings and her sword. It's so cool. And her helmet, like that is so badass. Personality. The Queen of Swords is an interesting character. She bears white wings like those of the Knight Steed, indicating her considerable intellectual abilities, and her headdress includes wing shapes over the ears. Yet, where the headdress covers her head, it resembles a net that seems to be restricting her freedom, so that she seems almost like a hooded hunting bird. This tells us that the Queen is a perfectionist, and thus, to some extent, she restricts herself with her exacting standards. When these standards aren't met, the Queen responds ruthlessly with scorn. Where the headdress covers her eyes, it resembles a mask, showing that she is in some way isolated from those around her. With her left hand, she holds the hilt of a sword, showing that she has a firm grasp on the subject at hand. With her right hand, she grasps the sword's blade, indicating that she is unstingingly honest, most of all with herself. The Queen's honesty and perfectionism make her seem like a stern taskmaster, but this energy is necessary in any plan or endeavor. It is what drives us to be better. Stage of development. A plan or endeavor has reached a stage where it runs of its own accord and no longer needs tremendous willpower to launch it into the world. One should keep the integrity and purity of the original idea in mind, however, to serve as a guiding light for the future. Approach. Queens are feeling. The Queen of Swords suggests to use your intuition when deciding whether something measures up to your original plan. If you feel like something doesn't make the grade, don't be afraid to jettison it. People may call you picky, but you'll be remaining true to your ideals. 2/3 Libra, 1/3 Virgo. The Queen of Swords can be meticulous, Virgo, about adhering to her refined ideals, Libra. Yeah, somebody here is like twisting and contorting things to make it seem like what you're asking for isn't um, like a normal thing to ask for, but it's just basic needs. So it's basic respect. It's basic things. So for somebody to like twist and contort it, I feel like also they want to call you like a taskmaster. But really, it's like they're lazy, okay, Libras? Like, they don't want to do any work, okay? That doesn't make you like, that doesn't mean your energy is like, um, you know, not like good energy. It's like you want to, get this ball rolling. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like keeping it up in the air, like hovering it over your head while you're like, you know what? I'm going to take this ball and I'm going to roll with it. Enough of this balancing act, enough of this excuse after excuse, throwing excuse after excuse at me. I'm going to hit this one out of the park. You know what I'm saying? Like, end of discussion. So, so I feel like that's what you're doing, Libra, okay? Like, you're not playing games here. Like, it's over, you won, end of story. If they don't like it, too bad. Oh well. Like, you know, you're running a tight ship here, I feel like. And I think that, like, going from, you know, like, listening to these people's excuses, having them try to mess with your mind, having them try to control your thoughts and ideas, and how you think and how you act and what you have versus what you don't have. That's controlling, that's isolation, that's manipulation. So you're breaking free from that. You're breaking free from those bonds and you're moving forward to a bigger, better goal. And if they don't like it, oh well, too bad. So sad. Like, they should have got with the program. They should have listened to you. So it's really their loss, and you're a powerhouse here, okay? Your perception is clear. Your ideals are clear. You're not like just beating around the bush here. I can only give so many metaphors before it's like, I've already given so many metaphors. But basically, you're dealing with an energy where, like, you're pushing ahead, you're moving forward, you're presenting your ideals, you're presenting yourself a certain way, and they're pushback, 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 pushback. And it's like, then if you're not going to be part of the team, and you're not going to make things happen, and you're going to just have excuse after excuse, then you're not part of the team anymore. Right? Team Libra all the way. So that's my message for you, Libras. Love and light always. I'm on your team, always will be. You're a strong force, and you've got a lot of love and light in your heart. So keep going. You got this. All right? Please like and subscribe to the channel. Love and light always. Bye for now.